In a world filled with fleeting connections and whirlwind romances, some love stories are simply meant to be timeless, unexpected, and unforgettable. The story of Bang Chigu and Suliai is one of those rare gems, a romance that unfolded like a perfect K-drama, filled with chance encounters, emotional twists, fierce loyalty, and a wedding that left their fans teary-eyed. This is the captivating journey of how Bang Chigu and Suliai met, fell in love, and ultimately walked down the aisle, hand in hand, proving that fate truly has its own beautiful timing. Bang Chigu is known for his sharp charisma, quick wit, and rising fame in the underground indie music scene. With his rugged voice and heartfelt lyrics, he had built a loyal fan base that admired not just his music, but his humility. Suliai, on the other hand, was gaining attention in the art and fashion world. Her style, quirky yet elegant, made her a standout figure on social media. But she wasn't just an influencer. She was an artist through and through, with sketches that could bring a tear to your eye. The two couldn't have been more different. Him with his late-night gigs and guitar scars, her with her brushes, palettes, and dreamy Instagram feed. But life has a funny way of bringing opposites together. Their first meeting? It was completely unplanned. In the heart of Seoul, at a modest cafe known for hosting open mic nights and indie art exhibitions, Suliai had her artwork displayed on the walls for a weekend event. Bang Chigu had stopped by that night to support a friend performing. He was running late, slightly annoyed, and in a rush, until he saw the painting near the cafe entrance. It was titled, "Alone in the Crowd." A single figure sitting on a subway, surrounded by people but entirely isolated. Something in the strokes, lonely yet alive, caught him. He found Suliai at the back of the cafe. She was sipping green tea and reading a dog-eared Murakami novel. "You painted that?" he asked without introducing himself. She looked up, slightly startled. "Yes. Do you like it?" He replied. "It made me stop walking. That doesn't happen often." After that night, they kept crossing paths, intentionally and accidentally. A week later, she showed up at one of his acoustic gigs. Then he attended her next art pop-up. Before long, coffee turned into dinners and dinners turned into long late-night walks through the quieter streets of Seoul. They were just friends at first. Or at least that's what they told themselves. They talked about everything: life, fears, music, art, and the strange pressure of public attention. She taught him how to see colors and emotions. He taught her how to find rhythm in silence. They teased each other constantly. "I still don't get how you're famous with such messy hair," she'd joke. "And I don't get how you paint so well when you can't even draw a straight line," he'd counter. Their banter was effortless. But underneath, feelings grew like wildflowers, messy, beautiful, and impossible to ignore. They were both invited to collaborate on a charity project. She would paint live during his concert while he performed a song based on her most famous artwork. It was called Blue Garden. The event was filmed and went viral. People online couldn't stop commenting on their chemistry. But that night wasn't just special for fans. It was a turning point for them. Backstage, as they laughed about how awkwardly they both looked on camera, Suliai looked at him differently. "You know," she hesitated, "you're the only one who never asks me to change." He smiled. "You're the only one who makes me want to be better." There was silence. Then he reached out and brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. And just like that, they kissed. Dating in the public eye wasn't easy. Rumors flew, cameras followed, and online critics had opinions about everything, from their outfits to their supposed compatibility. But they protected what they had. They never confirmed their relationship publicly at first. Instead, they chose to build it in private, going on midnight drives, hiding away in art studios, scribbling notes to each other on the backs of receipts, napkins, and guitar tabs. She painted him often, but never showed the public those pieces. He wrote an entire EP about her, but only released one song from it, "You," quietly. They weren't trying to be mysterious. They were just trying to be real in a world obsessed with performance. But love stories aren't always perfect. A year into their relationship, they went through a rough patch. Work pressures, endless schedules, and emotional burnout drove a wedge between them. They didn't talk for weeks. Fans noticed the silence. Sulei stopped posting anything remotely cheerful. Bang Chi-gu canceled 2 shows. Everyone speculated, some even celebrated their supposed breakup. But what the world didn't know was this. One rainy evening, after a particularly emotional therapy session, Bang Chi-gu stood outside her studio for hours. No cameras, no media, just him and the rain. When she opened the door, he was soaking wet and shivering. "I've written love songs before," he said, "but none of them meant anything until you. I'm not perfect, but I don't want to keep trying to be perfect without you," she cried. He held her. They started again, but slower this time. Wiser. The proposal didn't come with fireworks or flash mobs. It happened on a quiet winter morning, in their favorite bookstore cafe, the same one where they had their first real date. He handed her a book, an old copy of Norwegian Wood. Inside was a hand-drawn sketch of their story, how they met, the fights, the kisses, the art, the songs. And in the middle, folded between 2 pages, was a ring. "I never believed in soulmates," he whispered, "until you made me feel like I wasn't wandering alone anymore. Will you marry me?" She didn't answer right away. She kissed him, then laughed and said, "Yes, dummy. I've already painted our wedding." Their wedding wasn't a celebrity spectacle, it was a poetic celebration. Held in the countryside of Jeolla province, it was intimate, filled with wildflowers, handwritten vows, soft acoustic music, and tears of joy. He wore a deep navy suit. She wore an ivory gown that she had designed herself, with tiny embroidered symbols from their love story, a guitar, a paintbrush, a subway car, a coffee cup, and a small blue garden. As they exchanged vows, there wasn't a single dry eye in the crowd. "I promise to never ask you to change," she said. "And I promise to always stop walking when I see your art," he said. Their first dance? Not choreographed, not practiced. Just 2 souls swaying to a song they wrote together. Today, Bang Chi-gu and Sulei live in a small but cozy home tucked away from the public eye. He still writes music. She still paints. They collaborate often. Art books paired with music albums, gallery shows that include both sound and visuals. They're still learning, still fighting sometimes, still laughing, still kissing in the kitchen when no one's looking. Their love isn't loud. It's steady. And in a world that often forgets the beauty of quiet commitment, Bang Chi-gu and Sulei remind us that sometimes the strongest loves are built not on grand gestures, but on small, everyday moments, shared in full honesty.